Hello everybody. Today I would like to talk to you about how we plan what we grow for the year, what we do with our seeds and how we can make that as efficient as possible. I'm sure there's room for improvement, but join us and we'll show you what we do. So you may recognise this tub from our last video. These are our March sowings, and this is probably our biggest month for sowing, and I've just put these in here so I can just cart them to and fro from the allotment. I don't want to leave them down there in case a mouse comes and eats into the packets, but I'm going to show you where we start. And this is our glamorous seed container. Our council give these for a kitchen worktop compost caddy. We actually use something smaller for our day-to-day, the very odd little bit, like an apple core, or we have plastic-free tea bags. If we're likely to be doing something from the allotment, then when I'm processing, there's obviously a lot more waste than can fit into here that will go into the compost. So I just use a big bowl and we put it straight out into the compost. So that means that this little fellow is going begging. So we use it for the seeds. And I'm going to show you, warts and all, how untidy it is. Right, now I have a little pot in here which has got a few labels and my little seed sower thing. And what we do is we start at Christmas, and you know, most of us are busy. We have busy lives. As a busy mum and home educator, Christmas is really one of the only times I sit down to have, you know, a decent rest. And this year we had a quiet December. There was a distinct lack of Christmas parties, December 2020. So what I do is I get all the seeds out and I go through them, and what we do is we sort out what we have and what we're likely to need. We know what we want to grow each year. So I look through and I do make sure that I fill the packets, because there might only be a couple of seeds left in there, or it might be an empty packet that I've kept thinking I must make a note that we've sown this today, and then it slipped through the net and I've kept an empty packet. So we empty this out, I go through, and then I think about what we want to sow this year, if we want to sow anything new. So for example, this year, Christmas just gone, when I was having a look around to see what exciting new things we could grow, we decided to grow a couple of new things. And I also like to research different varieties, you know, for strawberries and things like that. How can I improve our strawberry yield? How can I improve the harvest throughout the year, for example? Should I get some more plants? So what we did this year was, I'm showing you my scruffy notes here. So I did actually look into strawberries, and I've gone through early, mid, late and everbearing. I do have a notebook where I make notes, quite extensive notes. I think I've got 4 pages on strawberries, each variety, what is best. And then from that I've gone through and I've worked out what is best for us. Currently we have a mid-range El Santa. That's my favourite variety. We have 2 beds of that at home at the allotment, and Rose has a bed. We have another one, I don't know what variety it is, that's coming to an end. Possibly one of my El Santa beds are coming to an end as well. They don't last forever. So what I will do is, I've got loads of runners of the El Santas, and my second bed is fine with those. So when I come to replace, I will be looking at getting one of the others just to extend our season. Rose wants to grow some white strawberries, so I looked into those, made a decision where to get them from, the variety, that they're the pine berries and the white strawberries. Again, as I was researching the website and the variety, here are our funny ones we're growing. So I wanted to grow some red noodle, and then just research on what to avoid putting with them. And then I've got a big question mark by asparagus. Do I want to grow asparagus this year? And I've made the decision, yes, and we should be getting the crowns any time now. And then I've gone through, I've just written down what we wanted to grow, and I've ticked off if I've got enough to successionally sow throughout the year or if I need some more. And then seeds that I do need to buy. So I've always got, you know, kale seeds in it, something that we always grow, for example, and spring onions. But I noted that I was running low and I did need some more. So that's how I plan. This is in December, and then I go through and order the seeds, and then once they come, so you've seen me spread them out, and actually in fact we get so many we have to spread them out over the floor just to work out their months, and we always organise them from the first month they can be sown in. So that is why March and April are big packets. So March gets bundled up like this and put into the compost caddy. And then we have a few other small ones. This one is May, so that one's quite a small one. June has only got one in to begin with, and I've got one for October. Rose did these little labels for me a few years ago. So that's how we start, and obviously at Christmas we have some that are January and February as well. There's usually not much you can sow in January, late January, maybe start the chilies off if you can keep them indoors. So, but we're March at the moment, so we've got this one. Now if we look at this, say June, now there's only one packet here. This doesn't mean we're only sowing one thing in June. What happens is when I have made my sowings, let's just move these out of the way. When I've made my sowings from here, I then pop them into here at the back. They just go down the side. If I've sown them and I'm not likely to sow them again, they go here. All the others are just stood up in there like that. So they're sort of stood up along there. If there's a packet I will want to sow again, if I want to successionally sow it, I just rest it on the top. So when it comes to the next month, I will, for example, in April, I will take out April's and I will take out the seeds from March that I've put on the top and think, do I want to sow them again? With regards to the seeds that we do sow, maybe the end of April, if we're sowing carrots now, for example, I've got some carrots that will be ready in a few weeks. Carrots I'll sow now, and I will want to successionally sow in about 6 weeks. So I might not sow them in April again. I might sow them in June. So they come June, I'll take this out, take out the ones that are on the top and think, oh yes, carrots, I do need to sow some more of these. So that is how I plan my successional sowing. One way I plan it. And we have one other way, and that is, I'm going to use Leeks as an example as that's what's here. I have got 3 packets of Leeks. Now, if you saw my video from yesterday, I had a packet of giant leeks that I was going to sow, and I think I've left them at the allotment. I don't know where they are. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to use these 3 as an example. Now I've got 3 varieties here. I have Hannibal, Stromboli and Musselburgh. Looking at them, they can all be sown in March, which is why they were in the March pile. However, if I look further into them to make a decision on which ones to sow right now, for example, the Musselburgh, they came in this little packet and they didn't have any instructions with them. However, I've got old packets of Musselburgh, so I just took the notes off of there. I've made a note. It's good in the cold. So from February to April, harvest, November to April. So I can sow these. These are really good in the cold, so I can actually overwinter these. I can sow them later. So as we're coming into the warmer weather now, I don't need to sow those. I can save those. My decision with regards to Stromboli, this is so you can see January to March indoors, we're coming to the end of March, but you can sow April to May outside. So this means that I can sow these ones later on in the year. They'll be best saved for that. So when we look at Hannibal, they are so late March to April. So that's perfect for now. So we're going to sow these. And to sow the leeks I'm going to do today, I'm just using this little container which I've made some little lines along just with a stick, and this is what I took my chilies out of. So I'm growing the Hannibal, and they are tiny black seeds. Just going to sprinkle some along. I always like to have the rows with these. I know some people just, throw them in a tray, but it's okay with these, which will be grown indoors, but I'm never sure what's a weed when they first start coming up. So I make a point to sow everything in rows, and then I can tell the difference. So I'm just going to cover these up. I've pre-moistened the compost. Leeks, when they come up, look like grass, so they're quite easy. So they will be ready in a few weeks. Take them out when they're about 6 inches and plant them outside. Now that's those done, I'm going to put the Hannibal, as I finish with those for now, at the back of my box, because I'll sow the Musselburgh in April, because they will be good to last all the way through. Musselburgh are a really slow cropper. They are short but fat, squat leeks. And then this one will go into the May pile, so I'll know I can sow those in May. Right, that's those away. I know it's not the best seed system. I could do with a bigger box, or maybe one of those over the door shoe hanging things with 12 pouches in. Mind you, you can't get this in. There's going to be too many seeds for March and April. So the other way I organise, just want to show you, you may have seen these before. This is a map of my allotment, and I did this at Christmas. So I printed out the existing plan, and then so this is not quite up to date, so I'm not sure how closely you can see there. But here we do have the garlic, but I've taken all the Romanesco out now. Everything else is about right. So the Musselburgh leeks are ones that I overwintered, and they are almost ready to come out and be maybe a couple of weeks. I could take them now as baby leeks. And then I've planned some new beds here. So last year this was just one big bed. We put potatoes in here and then didn't really do anything else with it because it's not no dig. And so this year we put in this bed, but didn't do anything with it. I've got a second bed there which is at the allotment now, and I've just got the compost for it. And then here, these squares, they denote arches, so I'm going to put arches along there, and then we're going to do the same here. I've talked about this on other videos. And then the potatoes, they are in. And then at the time I decided to put asparagus down there, but if you saw my no-dig potato videos, you'll see that actually when we were physically doing this space is going to be room up here, which is where we are going to put the asparagus when it arrives. So we like to plan the beds, so I know when things are coming out. So the garlic and that will come out about June. So then I can maybe put my brassicas in about then, depending on how well they're going. It's kind of a juggle at the time, but I want to keep them up here, and I want to keep the onions and things up here because the beans are going to go in here, and you don't want to put alliums near beans, but that will be a different video. And this is Rose's plot. So hers pretty much stays the same because it's fruit, and she's put in a blueberry bed. You would have seen that a week or so ago. Going to put in another blueberry here when I can get some palette collars. The ideal would be to put 2 more palette collars here, but I don't know whether I'll get them this year. So the sweet corn is going to go here. So at the moment, actually, the beetroot has come out. The carrots are waiting for the last few, and her white strawberries and pine berries are going in there. And I think did we plant the spring onions there already? Spring onions or onions are in there, and actually I think onions are in there. So as I say, this was an old one I just grabbed for the video. So the other thing I've done is, this little pile is in my March seeds. And that is because I know the 4 beds that I'm putting in with the arches on my plot, these can go in there. These can be okay with the beans that are going in. So I've got 2 lots of beetroot. I do like Boltardi. I think that's my favourite. I like the taste. It grows really well. We have grown some rainbow, but you know, that's fun. But it's a bit of a bellyache to have to cook it or process it separately to the red, otherwise it all just goes pink. So if we have a nice lot of white, and it's nice to have white beetroot on its own. We've got some white carrots. They are cream pack, not sown those ones before. Some nonce, some purple haze, and some samurai, just to get some different colours. Excuse the noise of the dishwasher. So what I was finding with, when we were growing rainbow carrots, we were getting a lot of orange ones and not that many purple ones or white ones. We'd get the odd one, but not very many. So I prefer to grow them separately. So these will go, what I will probably do is the either a couple in one bed, a couple in another, and then I've got my beetroot, and then I might have some dwarf French beans, so I'll put them in another bed. Just depends what's ready. So at the moment I've got the 2 beds here. I've got those. I'll put the beans in along here when they're ready. I've got some long peas coming as well. Forgot the name of them. I'll put it on the screen. So they are tall beans, tall peas, sorry, that are going in there. I shall do that. So that is our plan. And then when I've sown them, I put them on the computer, and this is what the screen looks like. What I do is I put the sowing date, and then when I've planted them out, and when I've harvested them. So this is my computer screen. Right, I hope this video is okay. Actually, I'm just showing you my screen. This is just in an Excel program or spreadsheet database, and as you can see alphabetically I do what type of plant I'm growing. So look at the carrots, and then we've got what type, the variety, the brand, the date I sow them, so we've got the months along the top, and then we have the date and where I've sown them, and I've got my colours at the top there. So at the moment everything is in this yellow green because I've sown it. And then if, for example, where you can see I've sown things in the conservatory or greenhouse and they will have been planted or will be planted out, that will have a date further along, and I will highlight that in the darker green. And then further along we have this brown up here, and that's for harvesting. So at a glance I can see when I look along on my dates how long it has taken, you know, sown here, planted that month, planted out, and then harvested along here. So I can just gauge You know, and it's easy to see variety by variety when they are harvested. And although you harvest at different times, so I might harvest something towards the end of June and then into July, I always put the first harvest date, the first time I take a crop from them, just so I can put, you know, to know when they can be ready for the first time. And then I usually put, so say I'm harvesting something in June, I'll put the first date in June that I harvested, and then I'll just mark this, you know, July in brown, just so that I know I was still harvesting into that month as well, so I can plan the beds for next year. Hope that makes sense. And then when we harvest, I used to just have a notebook, and I would literally just have a heading, you know, strawberries, and then every time I harvested some strawberries, I would write down the weight until the harvest was exhausted, and then I could tot up exactly what my harvest of strawberries was for that year. I would write the date by each harvest as well. But then I joined my harvest diary, which is it's a scheme online, and what they're doing basically, it's a really good scheme, I feel. It's a project at Sheffield University, and they are investigating the scale of food production on allotments and private growing spaces, so your gardens and things. So they're going to make a national estimate of the yields of typically grown fruit and veg in the 21st century. And what you do is you list everything that you grow, everything that you're harvesting, and where it's coming from. So this was August last year. You can see that a lot of our stuff was from the allotment, a little bit from the garden, not that much from the shops. And I just think this is a really good way. So did you give any away? Have you preserved any? How much time are you spending at the allotment, etc. So this will be sent off after a year, and then we can get it back. So I feel this is like a really neat way of being able to keep track of what we harvest. So on that note, we'd better be thinking about getting back down to the allotment. Got those 2 new beds to put in. I will be doing, what we like to do is, as we successionally sow, we like to process so that we can keep ourselves in fresh food, homegrown food, for as long around the year as possible. I will do some videos as we are harvesting to show how we preserve, how you can do it without any fancy equipment. We do have a dehydrator, but you can easily replicate that with your kitchen oven. So look out for those, and I hope this video has been of some use to you. If it has, do consider subscribing to us and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. And thank you for joining me today. Take care. Bye bye.